Welcome back to another episode of the Ian Fritts Show. Alabama takes down Georgia. Let's talk about it.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game. Unbelievable. 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal.
Okay, week 5 happened. Alabama, Georgia. It was the talk of the week leading into the weekend. And boy, oh boy, did it deliver. Now, if you're new here, you see the order of the show here: fumbles, first downs, what if, poll, muffins. And some of you are thinking, what is going on with this guy right now? Fumbles and first downs, what if, poll, muffins, fumbles, what I got wrong and what I predicted into the weekend, what went wrong. First downs, what I got right, the what if poll, my rankings of the top 25, muffins. I pick a player, a coach, a fan base that had a incredible performance this past weekend in college football, and we certify them. They could be a stud muffin, but we certify them as a stud muffin, and that means they showed up in the biggest game they could. Okay, we'll start with the fumbles, and it's gonna be the biggest game of the weekend. Georgia, Alabama. I messed this one up. Okay, leading up to the game, I thought this was going to be a lower scoring game, and boy, oh boy, was I wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong. I don't know what I thought going into this football game, where I thought, yeah, we're going to score no points in this football game. Alabama's not going to be able to move the ball on Kirby Smart's defense. That's what's going to happen. Jalen Milroe is going to have a couple issues. Kirby Smart is finally going to right the ship against Alabama, and it's going to be a 24-17 type football game, and Georgia's going to escape with a win. That's what I thought was going to happen, and that's what the gut was telling me. And I couldn't have been further from the truth. Like, the truth is way over there off screen, and I'm way over there off screen, okay? I was so wrong. This might have been the biggest fumble all year, and it stinks because it was the greatest game all year. And it did not look like it was going to be the greatest game all year. Alabama gets out to a 1,000,000-point lead, and Georgia looks lost all over the field. Defense, the cornerbacks, the safeties for Georgia had no idea left from right. Okay, they were getting spun around, turned around, upside down, all over the field. They couldn't figure anything out. They had a 17-year-old doing whatever he wanted to them. Okay, that didn't sound right, but that was right. Okay, Carson Beck. Look, no, let's talk about Alabama first. I've been saying for a year now that Kalen DeBoer is the best coach in all of college football, and I've been getting some heat from it, some heat for it. Everybody kept saying Kirby Smart, Kirby Smart, Kirby Smart, Kirby Smart, Kirby Smart, Kirby Smart. And I said, Kalen DeBoer, Kalen DeBoer, Kalen DeBoer, Kalen DeBoer. And of course, I go against my brain and I think, no. Kirby Smart's going to right the ship here. And Kalen DeBoer says, I don't think so, Ian. You were correct. I am the greatest coach in college football right now. And I'm going to show that to the world on the biggest stage in college football in week 5. And did he do that? Did he do that? Yes, he did. He knew exactly what to do the first drive of the game. Alabama shot themselves in the foot with 5 penalties, 4 penalties, whatever it was, that first drive of the game. And Kalen DeBoer said, it doesn't matter because I've got Jalen Milroe. He can pass the football, but we're just going to run him outside. See those tackles? We're going to go around them, and he's going to run for 50 yards on the first drive and throw for 30. And we're going to score, and we're going to go up 7-0, and then we're going to get 3 and out on defense because we're better than Carson Beck. And we're going to go up 28-0 in the first 16 minutes of the football game. And he did it. If you would have told me last week when I was previewing this game, Georgia is going to score 7 points in the first half, I would have said, that's not very good. That's not very good. I would probably think Alabama has less than 7, to be honest with you. And I would have been mightily wrong. I was mightily wrong. Kalen DeBoer, Jalen Milroe, Ryan Williams, Justice Haynes, it doesn't matter. Anybody on that Alabama offense deserves credit. Literally everybody in that Alabama building. Because what they showed last night, they look like the greatest team in the country. Now, Georgia battled back. Credit to Georgia, they battled back, but they were getting mauled for the better part of that football game. And then the script flipped, and Carson Beck decided, I need to start playing better football, or else I'm not going to be the first overall draft pick in this year's in this year's draft. Okay, a lot of people are mocking him as the best quarterback to be drafted, and after what we saw from last night, Jalen Milroe might have something to say about that. Carson Beck decided, I need to start playing some good football, and he did, and he did. He started playing some better football. Credit Carson Beck. They took the lead. They were down 33-7, and they took the lead with, I believe, 2 minutes left in the football game. Yes, 2.5 minutes left in the football game to go up by 1 point against Alabama. In the very next play, now this is something I did get right. I was wrong about the preview of the game, who I thought would win. But I did say, I think a lot of this is going to come down to Ryan Williams and that Georgia secondary. The very next play after Georgia comes back from 33-7 and takes the lead, the very next play for Alabama, 75-yard touchdown to Ryan Williams. And if you have not seen this play, I do not have the capabilities of doing all of that, but some other people do. Good for them. Go watch this play. You probably have seen it. He goes up, circus catch, gets the ball, lands, stays in bounds. He's running. He spins around, does a backflip. He doesn't actually do a backflip, but he might as well could have. Gets away from two Georgia defenders, just elusivity all over the place, and scores a touchdown to give Alabama the lead and ultimately the win. Okay? Incredible stuff from a child. Incredible. Ryan Williams, stud. Jalen Milroe, stud. Kalen DeBoer, stud. I'm sorry, Alabama. I am sorry. Now, next thing I got wrong. Well, this one will be quick. Notre Dame, again, I'm wrong. I have been 0 for 5 on Notre Dame games this year. I said it the past 2 weeks. I should have just gone against my gut. My gut said Louisville. Now, it was +7, so we just pushed. But my gut said Louisville. They lost. I was wrong again on Notre Dame. Fighting Irish. I cannot judge that football team at all this year. I, for the life of me, am getting it wrong every single time. So this week, I will go with the gut, and the pick will be the opposite of the gut. Hopefully. Look, Riley Leonard proved me wrong. I said Louisville is going to have the quarterback advantage, and Riley Leonard, he took care of the football, didn't turn it over, and Chuck did. And that was the difference in the football game. The turnovers from Louisville were the difference in the football game. Notre Dame didn't have any. Louisville did. That's the game right there. Riley Leonard had one passing touchdown coming into the football game. That was a big talking point. He doubled them up in this game. He had 2. Good for Riley Leonard. It was a game of his life, really, with how many passes he had. Buku passing touchdowns to give out. Not really, but for him, it was like, wow, I'm throwing so many touchdowns today. It's crazy, crazy. So Notre Dame, Fighting Irish, continue to prove me wrong. We're going to move on. All right, first downs, what I got right. So in the picks this week, we went 11-7-1. The one was Notre Dame, Louisville pushing. I count that as a tie. First one up is Kansas State, Oklahoma State. We were all over Kansas State from the get-go. How in the world was this 5.5 from Kansas State? It made 0 sense whatsoever. If you watched this football game as a Kansas State fan, congratulations. You were probably having the time of your life. If you watched this game as an Oklahoma State fan, you were probably wishing your life ended. Now, I don't say that lightly about life ending, but it was miserable as an Oklahoma State fan. I can only imagine. I am not one, and I wouldn't want to be one right now because they can't stop anybody, and they cannot do anything offensively. Alan Bowman looks blind out there. Ollie Gordon has disappeared from the face of the planet, and Avery Johnson looked majestic with his flowing locks yesterday. If they can put that on the field every single day, every single week, Kansas State's going to be a problem now. Kansas State's going to be a problem now, okay? They're going to have a lot of really good football ahead of them if Avery Johnson does what he did yesterday against Oklahoma State. Next game, Boise State, Washington State. Again, this is another one where I was astonished that the line was so low when Boise State, every single time they step on the field from here on out, they're going to have the best player on the football field, and they're going to say, "We know Ashton Jeanty's really good. We're going to give him the ball." Now, some coaches, some programs think we have the best player on the field. Let's not give him the ball. Let's not force feed the guy. Okay, we're going to make him too tired. He's not going to want to play anymore. He's going to get exhausted. He's going to get hurt. Boise State is force feed Ashton Jeanty, and that is the game plan. And let me tell you, folks, it is one of the best game plans in all of college football. Just Google it up right now. Google it up after this video. Google it up. Highlights Ashton Jeanty, Boise State. He breaks 7, 8 tackles every single run. Now, Washington State, the Wazoo, okay? You guys got to learn to tackle a little better. Now, it's easy for me to say I'm sitting here not tackling anybody, and I'm definitely not going to try to tackle the best running back in all of college football, okay? But tackle a little better, okay? Now, it's hard to say when you're trying to tackle Ashton Jeanty. That guy runs through people, runs over people, spins out of tackles, jukes people left and right, hurdles over them, all while diving into the end zone trying to score for his team. The dude lays it on the line every single time he touches the ball, and it's something to be admired, okay? There's a lot of Heisman hype around him right now, and deservedly can't even say words. He's taking words out of my mouth. He's so good. Deservedly so for Ashton Jeanty, okay? Right now, it should be him, Travis Hunter, and Jalen Milroe. That's the Heisman conversation. I don't care what anybody else says. It should be those guys. Ship them to New York City right now and let them stay there. Because I have a feeling deep down in the gut that is doing very, very well in picks this year that those are the 3 best players in all of college football. And I have no doubt about that. Watch all 3 of those guys play and tell me, I don't think we can give him Heisman. Okay. But right now, it should be one of those 3 guys. Ashton Jeanty has a case for it. And I think he's going to just continue to put up incredible numbers every single game, week in and week out. Boise State's got a good football team there. They got a good football team. Okay. Final one that I was right about. Well, we were right about a lot of them. But final one I wanted to hit on is Kentucky Ole Miss. The upset of the weekend. Not an upset of the weekend if you watch the Ian Fritts show and if you tell your friends about the Ian Fritts show, which you should, by the way. Subscribe, comment down below. Ian, you're awesome. And we'll ship you a mug for free. We won't, but you can still comment down below. You can still tell your friends about the show because we tell people about Kentucky Ole Miss. In the preview show, I said, this feels like a game that Kentucky can win. This feels like one of those games where Ole Miss has played nobody. And Kentucky, solid defense. They're going to be in the game till the very end. And all it took was one big play from Kentucky's offense, and they win that football game. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. Now, you only get this type of insight, this type of predictions on the Ian Fritts show, and that's all we have, okay? Now, Kentucky. I'm not sure how good they are, to be honest. Because offensively, there's still a lot to be desired. It was 4th and 11 when they hit on that one big pass play that gave them the win. If they don't hit that, Ole Miss wins this football game and the whole narrative around Ole Miss changes. Now, for Ole Miss, sucks for you. It didn't, and you lost. So the narrative is what it is. But I don't think people should be giving up on Ole Miss right now, okay? I think this is the wake-up call for Ole Miss this year. I think what they did in that football game is going to awaken them and say, hey, there's a lot of areas where we can get better. Kickers, one of them. But they were this close. You know how Georgia pulled away from Kentucky, winning by 1 point? Ole Miss is the exact same margin just for Kentucky in this game. That is how this game went down. That is it. That is how. 4th and 11, you let a guy throw a 60-yard pass on you. A guy that hasn't completed a 60-yard pass in who knows how long, since he was in high school in Brock Vandegrift. It doesn't happen. And it did. But people writing off Ole Miss, don't write them off just yet. I still believe in the Rebels. Now, am I as high on them as I was? No, because I saw this coming. But don't write the Rebels off just yet. Do not write the Rebels off just yet. Okay, next up, we have the What If poll. My rankings for the top 25. Let's get into it. Here we go. Number 25, Louisville Cardinals. Louisville. They're a solid football team. Turnovers killed them yesterday against Notre Dame. Right in front of them, I have the Oklahoma Sooners. What a wild football game. 97% chance that Auburn was going to win that game in the fourth quarter. And then Sooner magic happened. Kip Lewis for him, scored a pick six, and that was all she wrote. Defense is still very, very good for Oklahoma. Offense, still a little shaky. Got to figure it out. But that defense is good enough for me to keep them in the top 25 every week. Right in front of them, we talked about it, Boise State, Ashton Jeanty. If he was on one of these top 10 teams, national title, probably headed their way. That's how good he is. And they really are probably the leader for the group of 5 playoff spot right now. They don't have an extremely difficult schedule. Their only loss this year is to Oregon by a couple points. So Boise State Broncos to be messed with this year. South Carolina, they didn't play this week. I'm higher on South Carolina than a lot of people out there. I think that defense is legit, and their only loss is to the team in front of them. And really, was it to the team in front of them or was it to the referees? That can be debated. To me, it was to the refs. But because they have that loss next to their name, I have to put LSU ahead of them. I'm still not super high on LSU. Now, they do have an incredible freshman running back in Caden Durham that he touches the ball and it can go for a touchdown. That's the playmaking ability LSU has right now at the running back position. That's how good he is for that Tiger football team. But South Carolina, watch out for them. Stay on alert for South Carolina. I still think they can make some noise. In front of LSU, we have Notre Dame, Fighting Irish. I'm still not super impressed with Notre Dame. The Northern Illinois loss is still burned into my brain for eternity, probably. Right in front of them, I have Illinois. People are writing Illinois off after they just went into Happy Valley and gave Penn State a fight for 4 full quarters, okay? Luke Altmaier, still a stud. Illinois' defense is legit. Illinois is going to be a tough team for every team in the Big Ten to beat. Right in front of them, I have the Navy, midshipmen. It's awesome that we have a service academy in the top 20 of the What If poll. Doesn't happen every year. In fact, it never has happened. But Navy's a really good football team. They're a really, really good football team. Indiana Hoosiers, number 17 in the country. They're one of 3 teams to have not trailed at all this year. Let me say that again. To have not trailed at all this year. That's very hard to do, regardless of who you're playing, regardless of what your record is. Not trailing at all, being 5-0. Good for the Hoosiers. I was really low on them this year. I've been proved wrong. In front of them, I have the Iowa State Cyclones. They won 20-0 against Houston yesterday. Ugly football game. I was worried about that pick for a second because they had about 3 points for the majority of that football game. And then finally, they pulled away. The Cyclones are rolling, okay? Matt Campbell has that team rolling. Watch out for the Cyclones if you're a Big 12 football team. Quick pause, PSA. Well, I'll get through a couple more teams and then we'll talk about the Big 12 in general. SC, really good second half from the Trojans yesterday. Ended up covering for us. Michigan, still not sure what to do with Michigan. I still think that defense is really, really good, and that's why they're number 14. But the offense, we've got to figure something out. We have got to figure something out if you're Alex Orji in that offense. Kansas State, they're a wagon if Avery Johnson doesn't turn the ball over 12 times. Okay, they are a wagon. Defensively, offensively, humming. In front of them, I have the BYU Cougars. Now, they almost let this one slip away against Baylor yesterday, but they didn't. They held on. That offense is high-powered enough to win you a lot of football games. I like the BYU Cougars. I like them a lot. So we'll talk about, I think right now it's BYU, Kansas State, Iowa State. That is the conversation in the Big 12. And if Cam Rising gets healthy, it's BYU, Kansas State, Iowa State, and Utah. Anybody else, I don't think should be mentioned. Arizona, still not super impressed with them through 5 weeks of the year. Oklahoma State, dumpster fire of a football team right now. I think those are the four you need to talk about: BYU, Kansas State, Iowa State, and Utah. One of those four teams is your Big 12 champion. And maybe Colorado with what they did to UCF over the weekend. I'm still not convinced in Colorado. Still not. 11th team in the country, the Missouri Tigers, coming off a bye. Didn't do anything. I still can't put them in the top 10 right now. Some of you are going to hate me for this one. Ole Miss, still have them in the top 10. Do not write them off just yet. I know they lost. Kentucky's defense is legit. Look at what they did all year. Their defense is that good, okay? Watch out for Ole Miss. They're still not done. Still not done. Penn State Nittany Lions. I want a little bit more. I want a little bit more from the Nittany Lions right now. I need to see it a little bit more for me to believe. Clemson Tigers, you're making me believe. You are making me believe week in and week out. Since that Georgia game, we've been on the Clemson Tigers every single week, and they continue to win for us. And they look really, really good. They look really, really good. Offense, defense, doesn't matter. Clemson Tigers, really good football team. 8th in the what if poll. Number 7 in the what if poll, the Miami Hurricanes. We dropped them because of the turnover issues from Cam Ward. I said coming into the year, that was going to be the bugaboo for the Miami Hurricanes. And so far through the first 4 weeks, it didn't bug them at all. Didn't even matter. And it almost bit them against Virginia Tech. 4 total turnovers. It almost bit them, but Cam Ward had some magic in the air, and they won that football game. Did they win it? I'm not sure. Referee, Hail Mary situation. Who knows what happened? Who knows? Who knows what happened? Nobody does. Nobody. For sure, the refs don't. But Miami coming in at number 7, right in front of them. The Oregon Ducks. Go Ducks. Dylan Gabriel. You cannot throw pick sixes. Oh, just PSA, but Oregon, I think they're starting to round into form here. Rounding into form right when it matters, because a couple weeks from now, they play Ohio State. Yes, the Ohio State. Top 5, here we go. This is what everybody lives for. Georgia Bulldogs. And some of you are saying, Ian, weren't they down by 1 billion points to Alabama yesterday? And I'm going to say, yes, but they came back and took the lead against Alabama when they were down 1 billion points. Very difficult thing to do. They're still a top 5 team in the country. Georgia Bulldogs at number 5. Tennessee Volunteers at number 4. Number 3, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Number 2, Texas Longhorns. I would assume in 2 weeks when they play Oklahoma, Quinn Ewers is back, and I think that makes them a better football team than they have been the past couple weeks. And the moment everybody's been waiting for, we all know it. We don't want it, maybe. I don't know if I want it. The only people that probably want this are Alabama. Yeah, Alabama is your best team in the country right now. I'm not sure if anybody can beat them. They looked unstoppable. And I don't say that. They looked unstoppable. That's how good this Alabama football team looks right now. Speaking of Alabama, we'll get into this slide is not loading, so we'll just back right up. I have to get into the Muffins. Normally it's above me, but it's not right now. For the first time in the history of the Ian Fritts show, we have not one, but 2 certified stud muffins, okay? They are both on the Alabama Crimson Tide, and I'm sure you all know exactly who I'm talking about. Number 1, Jalen Milroe, boom, certified stud muffin. Number 2, Ryan Williams, boom, certified stud muffin. Milroe, 370 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, 120 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Ryan Williams, 6 catches for 177 yards and a touchdown. Game-winning touchdown. And some of those catches, just circus. And the guy's 17. I know everybody, stop telling us he's 17, but it is honestly astonishing that he's 17 doing what he's doing. Alabama looks unstoppable. Those 2 players look unstoppable. That's the show. That is the Week 5 recap. One of the most memorable Saturdays I've ever had, especially since doing this show. It was awesome. It was glorious. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe down below. Share this video. Get grandma's phone. Subscribe on her phone. Get your boss's phone. Subscribe on his phone. Subscribe at work. I don't care where you subscribe. Subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. We will see you in the Week 6 preview video. The picks are rolling. Watch the video. Bet some money on it. Win some money. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Bye.
Oh, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play of the game. 50, 45. There it goes.